My name is Esther Mushiri from E-Mentoring Africa. Always very excited to host this Mentors Parlour every Tuesday at 7:30. Just for purposes of the visitors in the room, this is a standard link that we have set. So it's a recurring meeting that happens every Tuesday. So feel free to save it and to remember to always join us every Tuesday, God willing. We shall be meeting at this space in the evening, tackling different topics that we have been requested by the youth of this country to speak about. E-Mentoring Africa is a not-for-profit organization that is passionate about matters mentorship. Our target is the youth across 13 to 35, and we cover different topics. But one of our greatest joys is that, and I want to say it's a joy during COVID, we came together with fantastic mentors. We call ourselves Magnificent Six because we chose to step up during this COVID and actually create a space where we will be talking to the youth and dealing with issues that are affecting all of us. And so we've had a series of these sessions since April. Was it April? Yes, since April. And today we are excited to have our mentor, Mukuhi Masharia, taking us through a very interesting topic that has been requested a lot because we have young people that are sitting at home, they have graduated, and they are wondering, so what do we do with ourselves? Now that we're here, we are ready, we are just yearning to do something in the workplace. But where do we start? So Mukuhi is here to take us through the stepping stones to getting to that career that we're all looking for. I will invite Mukuhi now to go ahead and take on the session. We are recording. Please share your email and phone number with us so that after we do a bit of editing on the audio, it will be available for you to listen. Otherwise, I will mute myself and allow Mukuhi now to go ahead and start the session officially as we look forward to learn together. Karibu sana Mukuhi.
Thank you, Esther. All right, thank you very much, Esther. And good evening, everybody. It's good to hear your voices. At least some of the people have gotten a chance to speak. So it's really nice that you could make the time to be here with us today. So, and I think how we are going to go about it, we're going to talk around internship as a stepping stone to career. So I guess the question we'll be answering or wanting to find out is, so indeed, how then is internship a stepping stone to career? And maybe even we could just start very quickly by giving the definition of, talking around what is internship, and maybe we could even, I could pick on, just a few of us to give an indication of what is internship, from just how we understand it. Yes, welcome, Sagao, and maybe just off the top of your head, what would you say, what is internship? You're muted.
Yes, I'm here, sorry. Yeah, I was speaking while on mute.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So for me, I think internship is just an opportunity for professionals to, get an experience of how, the real job looks like before they get into the real field. So just having an opportunity, first of all, to just experience what it means to be, let's say, a doctor or a teacher or, whatever profession you are in before you really get your hands onto the actual job. So it's like a transition between, learning the profession into the profession itself. So that transition, but learning the real stuff before you get to do the real stuff.
Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty much, yes, I think it's around that. It's about, getting some, like in an opportunity to try out, to be in a situation where you are exposed to the skills. So I quickly wanted to share, I did not mention, Esther already said, my name is Rachel Mukuhi. I am an educator, and I'm also a management consultant. And like she already introduced us largely, I love to mentor, in different areas, and especially, for organizations, helping organizations and people to find their mission. So going back to what it is we're talking about today, around internship. So really, I would say an internship, it is an opportunity, offered by an employer to potential employees, and for a specific period of time. Yeah, and like Sagao shared with us, yes, sometimes it would be in transition, from school or from graduate school, from undergraduate or high school, transiting into college. So, and it is usually, for a period of time. So as I shared this, as I wanted to bring this discussion, we have also, we'll be having this talk with Eunice Kariuki, who will be joining us shortly. I think actually she should be in the room, but I will welcome her. But I just wanted to share a little bit about my understanding or my experience of what internship is. So for me, I would say internship as a stepping stone to career. Would I say that internship for me has played that role? And for me, I would say yes, in the sense that I said I'm an educator. So I got an opportunity somewhere in between the 4 years of doing the bachelor's education. There was an opportunity to actually, be in a school environment, teach, interact with the students, really do everything that the teacher would do. So for me, I feel as much as perhaps now I am not directly, teaching the people who I was designed to teach at that time, every time I think those skills at that point, that exposure perhaps was one of the most, critical and essential skills. I feel like there were life skills, having done it at that time, and then that exposure, that giving me time to just be in that space, and then, going back to school and completing my, my degree. I think that has really, really been something very, which has really been insightful and has been a foundational element in my career. So I keep, I say that I think like a teacher, my way of doing things was based on that exposure I had then, kind of just made me the way I am now, because I did not go on to teach in school, but somehow my career has gone into monitoring and evaluation, humanitarian, and every time I still go back to that point, standing in front of people, talking, a presentation like this, So I would say that exposure at that time really strengthened my outlook to getting into the field. So anyway, well, it's not about me today, because I want to welcome Eunice, because she's been Eunice Kariuki. I'll let her introduce herself, but I just wanted to welcome her because she's had exposure to running an internship program, and here in Kenya under the Ministry of ICT and the ICT Authority, and so there are things she'll share with us. We'll have a discussion around it, and so at this point in time, so that again we make it as interactive as possible, I want to welcome Eunice Kariuki. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Rachel. I hope I am audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you.
And I must apologize to the audience because I thought my lighting is really very good and I will be as clear as you are, but something is just not right. Nonetheless, it's not about how I'm looking, it's about the conversation we are going to have. And therefore, my name is Eunice Kariuki, as you heard. I'm the immediate former Director of Partnerships, Partnerships, Innovation and Capacity at ICT Authority. The relevance of this talk today is in particular because of the program I led there, the Presidential Digital Talent Program. It's a program which gave me an opportunity to interact with the youth, an opportunity to concern myself with why the youth finish university or college and they don't get a job. I concerned myself with why employers often cried that they could not find the right caliber of employee in the market. And together with colleagues and others in government and industry, a process was initiated to really try and address this issue. The issue of why we are graduating so many and few are getting jobs. Many don't get jobs, but the problem really is the employers as well cry that they are not getting the right employee. And therefore, actually, much to my disappointment and that of the government, a lot of them end up importing personnel and skills. In this era of online working, it is not uncommon to find people giving work online to people who are outside Kenya. That is not a very good thing given where we are at and the percentage of unemployment. And that is why this topic is very apt today. I want to use this opportunity to talk about internships. I had Rachel sort of define what internships are. There are many ways of looking at internship, but she was spot on. The bottom line is that when you're looking for an internship, you really must know why you're looking for one. It is not too uncommon to find people who stumble on an advert in the papers and immediately begin to scramble for pens and pencils and papers to put that application in. They have never thought about what an internship is. They have never thought what value they can get from an internship. They have actually never reflected. Some of them actually are told that there's an internship and they immediately think that is a job. And there's nothing wrong with that because we learn in different circumstances and our exposures are different and that could contribute to it. Let me start by saying I myself am a product of an internship. I did a degree course that was a sandwich course, and that meant the last year, the final year, I had to go out for a full year and complete a project, and without complete an internship and write a project, and without doing that, I could not graduate. It was very hard. First of all, it was very hard to look for that internship. I just felt like I was being punished having to look for an internship. Luckily, I landed one, and when I arrived, or when I started the process of applying, sincerely speaking, I didn't know what I was doing. So during my college days, we had been exposed to open days with employers and they kept asking us to write CVs. I kept wanting to write a CV, but I kept finding that my CV was just a few lines of stuff that, in my opinion, sounded so irrelevant to what the employer would have been wanting. For instance, such employers were PwC, KPMG, you know, those big names. The Microsofts of this world, you know, you meet them at job fairs and they are trying to talk to you and you're thinking, gosh, I only ever taught at a primary school. How can that ever make sense? I only ever led a wedding organization. How can that ever make sense? Besides that, I have only done a degree, and you think all those things are totally irrelevant. Let me start by saying, our institutions could do a better job trying to explain why any experience is very important as you go through college days. Because even when it comes to applying for an internship, you will find that any experience will make sense. This is how it works. An employer will either deliberately or as part of a strategy to reduce costs want to recruit an intern. So there are two sides to it. One, there is somebody who has come out of university and is looking for an internship. Assume that person knows exactly why they want an internship based on the definition that was given by Rachel. So they want an internship so they can gain practical experience about the work environment. There's another person who has just been sitting, and then they stumble on this opportunity, especially the government ones, and then they immediately want to jump into it. So assume we have those two categories, but we also have an employer who wants to give internships because they want to prepare the future cadre of employees. They want to have a pipeline of people who are employable, and they know for those people to come and be put in a mission critical setup like a bank. A bank is a mission critical setup because when you blink, customers' money gets lost. So some employers are so responsible and thoughtful. They have those programs and they give college graduates an opportunity to stay with them for a limited number of months, during which they take them through learning experience. So bearing in mind that an internship is a career-based learning experience gained through a position in an organization and very often given to a student or a trainee, and bearing in mind that that position is usually in a real work environment. So a real work environment has structures, has procedures, has systems, has a work ethic. In fact, real work environments have a standard sort of set of expectations about, you know, what should be done. And therefore, when they bring you in, they have certain basic expectations, not very high, very basic. And these things, they begin to assess you from the minute they get your application. One second. When they get your application, they are beginning to look at what you have done, how first of all you put your document together. And that's why I'm saying it is important you prepare from when you are in college. To prepare to begin, when I finish, I will want to look for an internship. You begin to practice how to write an application letter. You begin to prepare, to plan, to practice how to organize yourself. Internship will usually ask you, attach this, attach the other, attach the other. Do you have it ready? Or do you start preparing from the day you see the advert? If you start preparing from the day you see the advert, honestly, you're missing already. You are on the wrong adrenaline. You might make it, but you'll be chancing. Let's move past that. What do you want to get out of an internship? Again, it prepares you for the real work environment. So if you've ever been asked to prepare ugali, let me use that example, and you've been able to make a recipe, plan, make sure there is unga, there is water, there is gas or charcoal or firewood, whatever, and you've done that exercise and lunch was ready on the table at exactly 1, then you are good, because the real work environment takes that project, that was a project, and puts it at another level, and now you are expected to run a communication campaign to market a product. So since you knew how to prepare the ingredients for your ugali and everything, you may find yourself having a very easy time at the internship place, just thinking through what is the first thing I need to do, who is it I need to communicate to, you know, where are they? And when you're asking yourself, where are they? You are saying, where will I get my ingredients, or where will I be required to set up the lunch? So every experience is important. And when you, if the academic institutions can be talking about internships to their students early enough, it will help them to get through. What you want from an internship depends on how prepared, what you get from an internship depends on how prepared you are. If you are that prepared, therefore, you will know from the moment you learned on your internship or your interview. you will have prepared on how you communicate, how you will communicate your positiveness, your already acquired skills. You are organized, it will be seen. How you walk into the interview, it will be seen. Actually, the interview for the real world job begins even at the interview place for the internship. How you dressed that morning. You know, sometimes some people will experience problems when they are coming, and they will almost crumble, fall down at the entrance. In a very competitive setup, that will not get you through the door. You will need to have the stamina or fortitude to stand up, dust yourself, and face the interviewer and greet them, good morning, I'm here for a particular interview. That impresses them, and that is a stepping stone towards the real job interview. Right, so here's the thing. Assume you have survived the interview. And by the way, before I go to the actual, what will you get out of it? Internships can be paid or unpaid. If you know why you want an internship, you will know whether you want a paid one or you are open to an unpaid one. Okay? If you want a paid one and you go into an unpaid one, you will have it very hard because you may not have the resources you need to be able to wake up every day and meet the workplace requirements. Remember, I talked about the workplace requirements. You may not have eaten dinner and you cannot perform well if you have a hungry, stomach. Therefore, it is okay to want a paid internship. There is nothing wrong with wanting a paid internship. So if you want a paid internship, please apply for a paid internship so that then you will be given something small, and it is usually called a stipend, so that you can meet your basic human requirements, so that you can meet the requirements of the workplace. If you can handle an unpaid internship, then it means, and you should have thought about it, then you're good. Go in and capitalize on the opportunity. When you report, usually you will be given someone to supervise you or to guide you. Let me base the remaining few minutes on how we did it at ICT Authority. When you onboard, you're given a buddy or a supervisor. This person, you will find this person at the station of work where you will be posted. You'll be posted in some station somewhere. An organization may have outstations or headquarters. That person will have been notified that we are bringing on board a particular intern with a particular set of skill sets. In fact, in most cases, that person will have requested for an intern with particular skill sets. And therefore, when you walk in, they will be judging you from the minute you walk in through the reception, your bounds, your confidence, your greeting, your dress code, your everything. It is very important you greet them with confidence because they also appreciate you've never worked before. Declare to them what your training has been like during your first introduction meeting. I've been to this university, I've done this, we've done that, but we've never really had hands-on experience in doing stuff. We've covered a lot of theories. Please do a disclaimer at that point in time. What that does, it puts your supervisor in a position of really gauging how much guidance you need. If you have some work experience, also talk about, I have done this before at this level. Maybe, those skills can also be relevant. Then your supervisor is going to handhold you. In most cases, they will start by telling you, we make tea here. They will try to want you to relax, which is very useful. Then they'll immediately introduce you to the organizational policies. That is the beginning place. Safety, security, those documents you sign to say that you will not disclose company information, take those things seriously. Because if you take them seriously and you show your supervisor that you are serious, you begin to give signs of, I am a good employee. Sign them, return them as you are required, return them on time. Some people delay small things like returning your acceptance document on time. That is usually a very poor show. Now, after that, sit down and hear your supervisor out. They will ask you, please tell me again about your skill sets. That is your opportunity for you to be told what you will be doing. Now, if you understand very well what the internship duties are, at that point, the rest of your time will be very easy. If you establish a system of feedback review with your supervisor, you will have a wonderful time. And therefore, it is important at that point to ask your supervisor, when can you be reviewing my work? How should I send my work to you to review? How should I expect feedback from you? It is so important, because without getting that confirmed or committed at the onset, you may find yourself swimming in this deep, waters alone, and it can be very, very lonely. So you need to ask for background information about the organization, so you understand at high level that organization. Okay, you understood at high level during interview, but you need to get to another level, a little bit deeper. Policies, the strategic plan. Those are very important documents to grab on the first day, because you need to understand at high level what every department does. You're a student fresh from university. No one expects you to know everything. You are forgiven before you start anyway by just virtue of being an intern. But show interest and try to understand. Why? Because the work you're going to be doing under your supervisor will relate to all these other departments. So having a general understanding will help you a lot. Every department does not work in isolation, they interconnected. Once you understand those, then you begin to execute your duties. It is very important that on the first day you just shadow your supervisor. Request your supervisor to come to meetings, to go and tour. If you are an IT person, go to the server room. Understand where the server room is, what are the securities, what are the passwords, get all of that sorted out. Understand who else is in the team. Invest your first few weeks getting to know the team members. You don't want to walk in there like in terms of the presidential digital talent would find. Immediately they are perceived as a threat to the people they find there. With the Presidential Digital Talent Program, an induction would happen over a period of a week. In that week, we would pump them up with excitement and adrenaline, and they would be just really raring to go. And that worked against them. Sometimes they would go and find a very sleepy old person supervisor who has been in that station for many years. And then they walk through that door, they have very fresh, exciting ideas the minute they open their minds and their mouths to say, oh, I also think we can do this, we can do that. They become a threat. If an intern is perceived to be a threat, then the people around will not help that intern much. It is very important that with your supervisor, you establish whether he will just be supervising you alone or you will have a mentor on the side. The work of a supervisor and your relationship with the supervisor is to agree on set targets and performance expectations that are based on the work that that department does under him. Then you get evaluated, then you finish, then you get some others, and you must be reviewed on and off. What you will experience is that sometimes it's uncomfortable, you don't know what you are doing. In fact, sometimes you suffer bouts of lack of confidence, and you just really don't know how to go about it. And you even fear your supervisor, especially when you are not confident about what you are doing. That is the moment for you to reach out to a mentor. Luckily for the Presidential Digital Talent Program, we assigned every intern with a mentor. The work of a mentor is to help you as an intern to fashion your life goals, your internship goals, to help you to understand yourself. Who are you? What are your strengths? Sometimes to help you realize that you need actually to write out your goals. You need to write out your weaknesses and your strengths, and you need to identify what you need to do when. It will concern yourself, personal development, but also career. You may say, although I got this intern as a network engineer, I'm struggling with this. And while that mentor may not be technical, they will actually tell you, benefit you with soft skills, how to relate with your supervisor when you have a tensed up environment, or a supervisor who is not outgoing, friendly, kind of thing. they will help you to know how to communicate with that supervisor and how to get the most out of that supervisor. So I always advise interns that it is important to equip yourself with a mentor on the side. In a structured one like the Presidential Digital Talent Program 1, you may be helped to be paired with a mentor. The mentor will be trained, there will be a process, there will be scheduled reviews that you need to have, there will be notes, there will be a system of monitoring how you are progressing with your mentor. But in a private setting, you may not have that. So you will need to have initiative to also, a mentor can be your successful cousin, uncle, friend, somebody. Mentorship has a discipline. You need to maintain a certain relationship, which is purely work, so that you are able to ask questions that are to do with career. And you will usually be given tips about where to get what tools to help you to do what. They will even introduce, mentors often introduce you to other people with tools that you may need to perform your job. So it is very, very important that you have one, and you know what, you tell them what you might need in order to excel in your job. And they are usually, mentorship is a volunteer thing. You can't pay a mentor. Even if you pay, you may buy them a cup of tea because during talking they may need, you know, but mentorship is something that comes from the heart, and therefore it is easy for an intern to be able to get a lot from that mentor. However, I insist that with your mentor, you must have a structured journey. Start with that mentor, they will help you to know who you are, what your weaknesses are. Then you move on to career goals, personal goals, and what have you. Then you progress like that. You set other things. You say, I'm struggling, I'm trying to develop a website, I don't know what. They will tell you, come, I'll introduce you to Cisco. They have this platform. That is how to make use of mentors. Now, that side builds you on the internship, because to your supervisor, you seem so resourceful. Wow, you are able to go and get other resources to host a website that you are developing. Sorry, I'm talking about websites because I'm from an IT background. They'll be like, you go and say, I hosted temporarily with a platform that was provided by Microsoft or provided by who and who. They will think you are so resourceful. You tell them we need to test it while it is there. They will think, this person, I need this person. All right. So that is as far as working, getting the most of it. I would like to, Rachel, what time am I supposed to stop? Because
yeah, I think this is a good time for a break, so that then we can also just hear from the audience. And I think that what the question I wanted to ask, then we'll come back again to what I wanted to maybe hear from the audience, having given, you've gone on to give around the benefits of mentorship. You've explained what it is you need to do to make the most of that internship process. So I think maybe a question we can ask on the floor is, have we had internships? Do we have people in there, maybe by a show of hands? Have we had people who have had opportunities to be interns? Yeah, the people in the, yeah, let's just see, raise your hand if you have ever been an intern. Okay, do we know where the hands raise? Okay, yeah, thumbs up is good. Yes, Maggie, yeah, there's Sagao. Yes, we've had experience, we've been interns, Kemboi. Great, all right, so I think, can we hear an experience? Maybe we can hear briefly, how has that been instrumental to your career? Remember, we're trying to just connect the mentorship, the internship aspect and career. So we could just, if we could just hear from, we can have people chatting on. The question is, how instrumental has internship been to your career or your profession? Yeah, so that's the question. And then, but we could hear from Kemboi, perhaps we can hear how internship has been instrumental. Kemboi, you can unmute.
Thank you so much. Samuel Kemboi, thank you so much for the presentation. It is a big learning. I internship in Kenyatta National Hospital. I did my internship at Madare Hospital and later at Nakuru District Hospital. I did medical course. And the benefit of my internship is I was practicing whatever I learned in class. It's a practical section where you do the theory part, you go and practice now with the patient and with the hands-on. After I did my internship, I created a network within my internship that I got a job after finishing my college.
Okay.
Yes. And that is how I grew. I started as an intern. I went back to the college, and then through those networks, I got a job in the same institution I was doing internship.
Oh, okay, excellent. What about Maggie? Maybe we could hear from you, Maggie. Thank you, Kemboy. We can hear from Maggie what has internship done for you?
I think Kemboy has covered a bit. It gives you the practical hands-on. I was a bit lucky when I finished, when I finished high school, my dad put me in shipping. You guys know shipping, clearing and forwarding in Mombasa. So I interned in a shipping company, and those guys were amazing. It's called Seafood. I still put it in my resume until today. I can't tell you, I was so young, clueless, but the people are so friendly. I learned how to survive in a corporate environment, the discipline, the same stuff you don't learn in school. And it was very, 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 even before I left for the States, I think it's one place I even still call home. The guys were so nice. And I learned a lot, even the clearing, those days you read on the, how do you call it? You read in your class, because I went to college for it. You read how to, the shipping procedures, the clearing and forwarding. It was so practical, delivery, bill of ladings, and it was so good. I liked it. It really exposed me,
Oh, great. Maggie, thanks for sharing. Sagao, you also had, do share with us your internship experience.
Hi, everyone. Mine is quite obvious. I'm a teacher by profession, I think, just like Rachel. And I think for me, it was an eye-opener because I thought maybe, as a teacher, once you are trained, you have the technical skills. I think someone talked about soft skills. I think that is what most people lack when they get to the field. You might have the technical skills, you know how to teach math and physics, all that. You are good at it and all that. But then the soft skills, collaboration, things to do with people, interrelationship, all those things, etiquette. Those are the things that you get to learn when you are now, interning. And I think for me, that is what I learned. I remember I got into some trouble with some students because I did not just know how to, handle young men. I interned at Jamhuri High. And for me, it was really, really interesting to just know how to deal with young men, of that caliber. So for me, I think those soft skills is what I picked from during my internship. Yeah. So that is what I could say. Those soft skills. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. And I see from PC944. Could you speak to us so that you introduce yourself? You've written on the group and you're muted. So if you could unmute, then we could hear you that you're actually currently interning. So we have somebody who's currently interning in the engineering firms. And are we able to hear you? Or shall I read out what you've said that you're engineering in one of the firms, and one of the things your mentor tells you is to be aggressive and be willing to learn anything that comes along, even if it doesn't concern your career path. And I spend most times reading after daily activities. Oh, great. Yeah, that's good stuff. And I think for me also, it's, I was just thinking right now and thinking, sometimes maybe you're even interning and you don't know you're interning, because sometimes, you will be in that environment. Yes, it is college, but thereafter, there are times I have been exposed to other careers. I didn't end up doing that. Like, you know, I had stints of working in the bank, and it was internship because it was still those internship programs. But for me, I just thought, you know, it's a holiday break. But in retrospect, you really are picking different kind of skills. And I think not choosing, but just picking whatever comes your way. So I think the part between volunteering and internship and job shadowing, all those things are kind of in the same space. Okay. All right, any other people to share with us? Or Eunice, do you have some reaction to add so far what has been said?
I want to say that the comments that have been given are totally valid. Let me say this. The program that I led, which is a Presidential Digital Talent Program, is a 12-month structured program. They are very lucky because they are taken through a structured curriculum. So I would only hope that other employers who give internship would actually draw out, or, you know, write out clearly what skill set each intern shadowing or undertaking an internship should be exposed to for that job. If that does not happen, it is useful to look at a job description of your supervisor, and you will be able to pick out what key skill sets that job requires. And based on that, you make that your learning guide to be able to acquire the right skills there. Let me also add that the people who have spoken so far have had very good experiences. The people who have interned in government, some of them have different experiences, but majority have good experiences. Let me add by saying that during the day, as an intern, you should be able to do as much as possible for your supervisor and any other person who may be struggling. The point is, that is your platform for you to showcase your prowess. That is your platform for you to showcase how much mileage you can cover. When everybody is rushing to go home, remember, an internship is for a limited period, 3, 6, 12 months, depending on whichever you landed. Go the extra mile. Somebody is struggling, I don't know with doing what, just offer to do it for them, impress them. Let me tell you, the workplace is full of people who are very tired or who are very overwhelmed with 1,000,001 things they could do. And if they ever saw someone who can make their life easy, believe me, next time there will be a job opportunity, they will be calling you because you already demonstrated your capacity. Spend your evenings and your weekends learning courses that are aligned with the key skill sets of the job, the career path that you are pursuing. Most importantly, attempt to be certified. Take the ones that can lead to a certification. If you don't have the money, take the course and you can always certify at a later date. Then they have talked about soft skills. Again, I have to say the program that I led was structured and we attempted to offer soft skills. Private sector always came in handy. Why? Because private sector knows the place for people with good soft skills. What are the soft skills? It's the communication skills, how you do your presentations, your emotional intelligence, so many things that are not really directly team skills. You know, how do you interact with team? How do you collaborate? Are you able to surmount a small conflict in the workplace? Or are you the type to throw a tantrum and just yell over? Can you manage yourself during a corporate function? All those things, you pick them up. And if your organization is actually not offering them in a structured manner, again, speak to your supervisor if you're struggling in an area. But for soft skills, the place to stop is your mentor. I just wanted to point out that there are some people who get into internships and 12 months is nothing. 6 months, I can assure you, it passes like this depending on what is motivating you in this internship. If you're there to learn, then you're very clear. By the time you leave, you have sent 1,000,001 applications, you have developed 5 projects, and you can quote, your CV must grow. Out of the 12 months, your CV must grow. It is very, very important in your CV, you have a section which demonstrates the work that you did during your internship. But there are some other people who go there because of other reasons, and they get carried away with a little stipend that they get there. You know, they begin to behave an 8 to 5 and they forget how they must maximize. That is always a danger that I advise interns and the youth to watch out for. But having said that, an internship is a pre-interview for the next job. And that interviews continues day in, day out, because you are being watched. If you are the type to be turning your screen this way and you are playing games, it will be seen. And if it is not seen with a naked eye, it will be seen through the server room. Somebody behind is actually capable of just seeing what you are doing. So I don't know whether I'll have another chance to speak. I have to say, internships are very, very valuable, both to the employer. So it is important as an intern you carry yourself with confidence, because you are contributing to real life work. It is just that your work has to be double checked by your supervisor and be cleared, and you are not in the official payroll. So what you contribute cannot actually be celebrated. So if it is not celebrated and it is your supervisor being celebrated, do not start brooding, because you are not officially an employee of that organization, you are a trainee. But for the bigger part, you are contributing to the corporate goals of that organization. There are other organizations that will not want to compensate you well. They want to exploit you. There are these problems that are there. I always say that opportunity, no matter what experience you are going through, if you can survive it, then you are good to be hired by anybody in future. I will be happy to take any direct questions about any aspect of the internship that I ran at ICT Authority. We evaluated them, we gave them certificates and a performance report. We quoted the projects that they did, and I always tell any mentor or any supervisor, it's very important that you quote in your reference letter what work they did for you. Be truthful again, because employers who are not, supervisors and employers who are not truthful, they actually cook you, literally. They write a very glowing reference document about what you did. Then you get a job in a very high stress environment. My friend, you are going to need a psychologist to mentor you. You'll be stressed and you will lose that job. So it is also important that you get a reference document that speaks to your particular strengths. Rachel, I will be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, Eunice. Yeah, that's so true about, internship preparing you for your next, for your next job. I like that, because it really does. It reminds me of how it's an opportunity to learn yourself. As you do what you're doing, then you're also learning yourself and learning, where am I geared, where am I geared to? So, and it's been an opportunity to your next job. Your next job might be another internship, because sometimes you'd rather take what is available, in this case, volunteer, but continue developing your skill. So I think I've seen the value, yes, it's a value addition process. In fact, yes, Kembo, you've said it right. And of course, it should be relevant. But I think, and that's my experience, I did different, I was in college training, for education to be a teacher. But during that time, I had exposure in banking. I was in, I did some banking stint for a couple of months. And then I also got exposure to be in an NGO, just a small NGO. And at that point in time is when I knew I am cut out for, for the humanitarian, not for corporate. I would rather be a more of a helper. So I think that that exposure really does do a lot. All right. Any other? I'm just seeing more comments on the chat. I see Coletta, some organizations take on interns but do not provide guidance in the workplace. So, and yes, she says to advise interns, if they find themselves in such a place, identify a person who can mentor you and let them know what to learn and grow, yes, what to learn and grow your skills. So I think the other thing here is mentor. Have mentors around you. I think we can't overemphasize. And the mentors it's your support group. You have mentors who will mentor you. You'll have people who walk with you and journey with you in in work, in life, and I think that's basically what it is. All right, any other things? Eunice is ready to take questions. Maggie, something?
Yeah, I feel like adding what Eunice has said to just emphasize. You know, I was assigned to some mentees who, I will not say the ministry, but Eunice said it during her presentation. They were assigned to, you know, they just walked into the door and they found this, is it gloomy? I wouldn't say it's about the age, but the people there were not accommodative. They were very old, for lack of a better, nicer word. And you know, this guy, right now he's moved to California, but you know, this brilliant guy, just like Eunice, full of IT ideas, brilliant ideas, nice ideas, you know, big ideas of, it was actually the lands ministry, yeah? How we could automate, this is like 3 years ago. And Eunice has said something very important. When you go to such a place, regardless of the challenges, just find a mentor, even if it's outside of that area, like, you know, Mukuhi or Eunice or somebody outside, even if it's your uncle. Find somebody and use that opportunity. It's your God-given opportunity. Use that opportunity to actually change that place. You know, it might be your one time. And I know sometimes, especially in the, I've not been working in the government, I've been lucky, but I know in the government public sector, it's very, what's the word? Bureaucratic. You know, people are not open to change, you know. But I feel like even in that scenario, just let you be remembered, because that's how you earn yourself even the employment, because they're like, Kaya, this guy is so brilliant. This chick is so brilliant. We need him, you know. Create just slowly. Don't do it overnight or the same week, you know. Take your time, be very strategic, and use that opportunity to actually change some few things. And yeah, that could be your golden opportunity. Then the other thing also, attitude is very, 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 I cannot overemphasize attitude. You know, your attitude, even the way you show up. Sometimes, like in our place, you guys know I work for SBM Bank. In our place, we say we hire, of course, we hire the best, but the attitude, in fact, for us, the attitude is more important, because that's when you're able to change somebody, you're able to, you know, adopt to our culture. The attitude can take you, let me tell you, can open the White House doors. So I find that the attitude, sometimes us guys, you know, we are young, we are millennials. You know, I'll give you an example. I know there's a time we hired interns to automate processes. And when you go, perhaps you're going to the branch and you're being told, we need this data, you know, and perhaps maybe you were taken as a lawyer, you know, as a law student or whatever, or IT student. And you're thinking, you know, you start feeling so good about, you understand? So be open-minded. Don't go with an ATT, you guys call it that way in Kenya, and just go with an open mind.
Okay, all right then. Thank you, Maggie. And Wycliffe is wondering, what should be the end goal of any internship period? Should it be getting absorbed in the organization or to gain experience? Eunice, you can speak into that.
Yes, a very good question. As I said, you must know from the time you go to be interviewed for what are you going, what is motivating you. But the good reason for an internship is actually to gain an experience that should get you to the next, or to a job. All right. Now, that job may be in the organization that you are interning, you know, with, or it may be any other. But really, to answer in short, the experience you gain there has to be geared towards getting you to a career, to a job, to a career. A job, you know, the word job is often used to mean that you are employed in a big company. But you may want to gain experience to learn how to manage accounts in your own family's business. So it is an experience to be able to learn to do something better. And if you want to do that something better as an employed person, then well and good, it is good. Now, should that job be there or not? When you go for an internship, and by the very definition of an internship, it has a beginning and an end. It is your business as an intern to use the period you have there to impress somebody in that organization, so that when they advertise the next job, then you may find yourself in the shortlist. If you find yourself in the shortlist, then again, you have an advantage because you already now know the policies, the culture, the strategic plan, the goal, everything. So you should be able to get through. But if you don't, then you can compete, you can have an edge and compete very well in the next job that is advertised anywhere else. So I would say the end game is for you to gain practical work experience, to translate the knowledge, that the theoretical knowledge you acquired in a college into practical application. So you can know when you say clamp, when you say do what, let me use the example of a chef. When you say bake a cake, you actually bake it. And then you would never have known in a university setting without ovens that if you use a light pot, the cake will burn. You must use a certain thickness of a pot. Now, if you intern at a big hotel, you will see the right thickness of a baking pan and your cake is not going to burn. All right? So that is really it. Internships are supposed to give you practical experience. You apply the skills, practice and see how things turn out, and from that application and seeing and experiencing, you gain knowledge. Now you are fit to work in the industry. Thank you, Rachel.
I'm all muted, sorry. I've been speaking to myself for a while. Thank you, Eunice. I think this has really been engaging. I see we are out of time. It's 2040 now, but I think, you know, we've wrapped it up. You've wrapped it up really well, and even there on the chat, you know, there's a discussion going around there. Thanks, Wycliffe, also for this insights, and Maggie and everybody else who contributed. And indeed, like Eunice, you've well said it, is that yes, the internship provides the real life experience and exposure. You know what happens in the workplace, then an opportunity to learn more about yourself, get connected, and also develop a professional network. You know, some of the networks we have, you know, for those who've been working, are networks you got way back, you know, and then even for the CV, it builds your CV when you have internship, when you have some proof of work experience. And then in some cases, they take you, you know, some cases they take you and you transition into full employment. So thank you very much for tonight. I just want to take on this back to Esther. Thank you. Thank you, Eunice. Oh, it was really nice to have you. Asante sana. You can say, Eunice, umesema kwaheri. Okay, let me let it go back to Esther. Then, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, this was awesome. Actually, it is much, you know, the way you have this expectation in your mind of how the session will go. Eunice, you've hacked it. Thank you so much. You have gone to the nitty-gritties of where do we start and made internships actually come out like a mandatory, a must-have for every young person that comes out of university. And maybe as a last question, do you know whether there's a policy in government that requires, you know, that kind of forces, if I may use that word, that our graduates leave college? And I'm talking of graduates, not necessarily university, but even colleges and TVETs, that they go through an internship process because it then gives them the experience required to really deliver. Is there something like that in government, or do you think there's need for such lobbying?
Right, so there is an internship policy in government. It guides government agencies and ministries on how to recruit them, how to see them through a work experience of a period of time. Mm-hmm. What it does not do, and it cannot do in government, is to make it a must that, okay, wait a minute, it doesn't compel the government to employ them post the internship. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It doesn't also make it completely mandatory that every graduate should undergo an internship.
Okay.
However, it encourages that university graduates should endeavor to obtain some work experience, and it also encourages that the work experience is best structured in an organization, but you shouldn't wait until you get placed in an organization. You can volunteer in a church and be the one producing or running the music equipment or running the technology there. You can actually get work experience in an agricultural farm. So the spirit is that, yes, the government understands the importance, but does not quite have a mechanism to enforce it. The framework of enforcing an internship, but acknowledges by mere fact of having an internship policy in place. And Esther, I have seen a question. If it is in the chats, but I don't think we have the time to answer it. It sounded very important, and now I can't. Where is the chat? You may want to take that question and find who asked that question, so that it can be followed up later.
Actually, we have very, very rich content, and I want to thank Professor Joel Baraza. You've really shared some very good insights in the chat. And what we shall do is that we shall capture this, if it is okay with you, and share them widely with people, even those who sent apologies and could not make it for today's session. And in my thinking, we need to encourage even the private sector, including the SMEs, to adopt this culture of internships. Because as you said earlier, sometimes it's not even paid, but it is the opportunity to gain work experience. And for an SME, it's actually an extra hand of someone who has gone through theoretical training and putting it in practice. So perhaps it's something I'm throwing as a challenge to the mentors in the parlor, as something we should think about and just see how can we drive this conversation deliberately within the private sector, the SMEs, so that we kind of mirror what the government is doing and have a structured, internship within the private sector that gives the youth an opportunity to test out what they know. But because of time, we have surpassed our time by 15 minutes. I really, really want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for finding time to join us. Coletta, Mashari, I can see you're in the house. Thank you so much. As we said earlier, the link to this Mentors Parlour is permanent. It's a recurring meeting every week. So join us next Tuesday. And we have our very own, none other than the person who loves farming and it just flows in his blood, Wafula Nabutola. Right now, tuning in all the way from Mateka in Bungoma. Wafula, do you want us to hear your voice?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Esther. And thank you, Eunice. I really appreciate this. And thank you, Rachel. This whole thing about internship should really be a policy because it also helps the learning curve, but from the time you join a job to how you're going to perform. If you've had some previous experience, it would help to quickly learn the ropes and get delivering, because it's not your job to go there and be an intern. You're going there to do a job, to perform to certain expectations. So, for example, here I am in this farm. When you come here, I don't expect you to tell me, how do you hold a djembe? How do you drive the tractor? How do you clean a pig? I would assume that those you already know. Anyway, the point, Eunice, is that it helps if somebody has got some prior experience, even if it's just a little exposure. And the example I'm going to give is leave about the farm, because many people are very scared about touching dung and things like that, but they like the sausage. So I don't know. It really helps to humble yourself to learn. And I like that. It all depends on your attitude.
It's true.
Are you
Wafula? Unapotea.
Are you prepared to listen to somebody else show you the ropes? Really, that's all I can say. Thank you very much. And greetings.
For that.
Thank you.
So next Tuesday, same time, 7:30, Wafula will be here talking about talent. Again, taking advantage of this COVID period. How can we play within our space where you feel most comfortable, you have this talent or this skill, but you don't know how to commercialize it. You don't know how to turn that passion that keeps you awake into something that can actually put money in your pocket. And the passion and the talent could be anything. Wafula right now has such fat pigs and he's making money out of it. It's a passion, it's a talent. I think he touches anything that is an animal or a plant and it just flourishes. How can you just use those opportunities around us to make a difference? So I invite you once again to the parlor next week. Please bring somebody along so that we can make a difference. Once again, from eMentoring Africa, it's a big thank you. Eunice, Kariuki, always a pleasure listening to you. Mukuhi, thank you for everything. Margaret, okay. I have noted what you have said, that actually the interns that come to SBM end up getting a job after the internship period. That's very, very encouraging and confirms that indeed internship is what we call it. It's stepping stones to a career. So thank you for confirming from a corporate angle that it does work. Otherwise, from me, unless someone has a really, really burning question, something to say, I would like to wish everybody a beautiful night. Yes, Mukuhi, you have something to say?
Yes, there's somebody who wants to get the invite link. She's wondering where she would get that. Maybe you can address, yes, I think it's just to announce or share the link for PC744. Yeah, she got it in the Young Professionals WhatsApp forum. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just the link of how to, maybe PC, you can share your email address and then we shall pick it on there, but it will be on the screen in a bit.
What I shall do actually, yes, I'm putting it on the screen shortly. So before we all leave, please pick that link and save it.
But meanwhile, she could put her email address as well.
Anybody else who has a comment to make as we end? What was your experience? What did you learn? Are you looking for an internship, for example? Maybe this is also an opportunity for you to speak out, and you never know.
Can I comment very quickly? Even as people look for internships, remember you can still volunteer your services. It's very good in your CV. Yeah, it actually differentiates you. So even if you don't get an internship, while you wait, as Esther says, while you wait, consider, there are many organizations where you can actually volunteer. And I'm talking, NGOs, Red Cross, I've done it so many times. AMREF, you name it, just look for something. Mukuhi also mentioned some, I don't believe in being used where you're not getting paid and you're doing the work, but you can go to a charitable cause that is very close to your heart, and that should also show up in your CV, yeah? Especially now, the needs are so many. There are people who are even people who just need somebody to talk to, kids, school kids, you name it. Consider volunteering. I know there are many avenues. Even if you Google, you'll find opportunities. You can even volunteer like what Eunice has done tonight. She's volunteering her time. And just consider that as something, it's a blessing. Trust you, it pays off eventually. So, yeah.
Maybe I can ask something of Eunice. If I can't get an internship opportunity in my area of study, and I want to ask this question addressing Kemboi Samuel, who is looking for an internship for water laboratory technologies. So assuming such an opportunity does not come along labeled that way, what should Kemboi do?
It's a good question, because that is the reality on the ground. It's not always that you're going to find an opportunity to intern in the area of your choice. The ideal situation is for you to intern in the area of your career choice, so then you pick up the knowledge that you need to be able to progress your career. But if you don't get that opportunity, frankly speaking, it is a tricky thing. It's very tricky to say that you are interning to prepare you for a particular job. That is different from volunteering to gain other soft skills types of skills or to contribute to society. Picture this. If you wanted to be, okay, I will not choose the line. Okay, picture this. You're a doctor, you're a pediatrician, and you don't get an opportunity to intern in the children's department. Can you intern in another department? The answer is, in another department, you will be more or less volunteering and gaining other skills in the general medical field. But if you are interning within the confines of the true definition of what is an internship, then you need to be mainstream, aligned with a particular career. The others will be the other soft skills that you need to keep busy, give back to society, and also do other things, because they always find a place in your life. As I was giving the example of making ugali, you know that is project management. Making ugali is absolutely project management. However, it may not get you a project management job of running the construction of Thika Road. So if you are an engineer, you will have to intern with an engineering company, preferably if you are a civil engineer, you make your way to a civil engineering. The Presidential Digital Talent Program tried to open itself up. Initially, it was focusing mostly on ICT graduates and engineers. The engineers were sent to Kenya Power and Kengen and so on. But later on, we got doctors and lawyers. And believe me, it was very tough to place them, because you cannot get a lawyer and place a lawyer in an IT department without a good briefing that we are trying to train you to be a TMT lawyer. You cannot get a health worker who is trained to nurse and put them in the server room. Itakuwa sida kidogo hapo. So there is a certain boundary that you have to maintain, so that if it's an internship to get you into a particular career path, you need to be aligned. Else, you are interning to gain other soft skills that can help you, or other skills that can help you become something else in the event all else doesn't work. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I will put a hard stop now. We have to leave because I want to allow all of us to have some time with our families. It's a pleasure. May God bless you. Take care of yourselves and see you next Tuesday at 7:30 to listen to none other than Wafula Nabutola. In case you need to write to us, our email is info@ementoringafrica.or.ke. If you do want to get in touch with Eunice or any of our mentors, we are available for you. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. You may leave at your pleasure.